Hello to everybody whose lawn occasionally becomes the talk of the town. It's Beautiful Anonymous, 1 hour, one phone call, no names, no holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun, and I'll get to know you, and you'll get to know me.
Hi everybody, Chris Gethard here. I know not everybody's into the long intro, so I'll just say thanks to everybody who's been coming to my shows lately. Sign up at beautifulanonymous.com if you want more. And if you want to get right to the phone call, you're going to want to skip about 6.5 minutes ahead. That should put you right at the beginning of the phone call. Thanks so much. Hi everybody, Chris Gethard here. Welcome to another episode of Beautiful Anonymous. It's such a joy to be here with you. Such a joy to have another conversation. Just one more conversation in the chain. Just another link in the chain of human conversations we have been building for 8 years now. And what a joy to be able to talk to you, to touch base with you, to check in, to say that I so sincerely hope you're doing well, to say that we are in a stretch where there's every reason to feel like you need to be panicky, to be worried, to be divided, and that at the very least, this is an hour to 90 minutes of your time where you can let that go and feel like you are connecting with another human being who's opening up about who they are. And that is the service we aim to provide here, whether it's funny, whether it's sometimes intense, whatever we are out there thinking and doing out here all over the world. As human beings, we put it out here. We allow you to connect with it. Feel a part of humanity again. Not a divided humanity, not a cybernetic, digital humanity. A real humanity that wants to be a little pack animal like humans are want to do and allows you to lock in with other people's stories in a way that sometimes life moves a little too fast for these days. Of course, you get more humanity if you're signed up at beautifulanonymous.com, where we give you extra with each caller every single week, where if you're at that upper tier, you get a secret phone number once a month to call into the show, so you have to compete with less people, follow-ups with past callers. Of course, ad-free listening if you sign up at beautifulanonymous.com. And I'll tell you, we have a healthy number. It's slowed down. I like to give you guys reports. We have a healthy but slowed number. We're up to 924 people who have signed up at beautifulanonymous.com. And I think those 924 people are getting the best experience you can as a Beautiful Anonymous listener. And I thank every single one of you who's taken a chance on that. I also have to thank everybody. I had a run of shows in Boston, Jersey, Baltimore, Philly, Connecticut, and then I flew out to Anaheim and I did the Wellness Together conference and we did our big show there. And I met so many listeners in the course of doing those stand-up shows. Thank you all for coming out. Obviously, that goes for everybody, especially all the people who were at the Wellness Together Student Mental Wellness Conference. I got to bring some comedians out, got to entertain you, got to show you what we're up to with Laughing Together. We're building this system by which myself and other comedians can go into schools, teach comedy as a tool that helps kids feel more resilient, more comfortable with failure as an asset instead of a negative. Feel comfortable with the spotlight on you, feel comfortable connecting with other people through conversation, eye contact, nonverbal communication. All these things that comedy helped me with when I was just a messed up, turned around kid in my late teens, early 20s. We're now passing that on, helping other people have that experience as well. And we're finding that a lot of teachers and a lot of educators and administrators that we're working with are saying, yes, this is valid and you're helping our kids and it's fun for them. And it also helps slice through some of the nonsense that gets in the way of human communication these days. So it's odd to think about, but a lot of my adult life has become about promoting the power of human communication. And thanks to everybody who supports me in doing that, whether it's by listening to this show or showing up at the stand-up shows or showing up at places like the mental health conference that I recently helped host and perform at. It means the world. Really, really means the world to be able to connect with all of you. this week's episode, I got to tell you, this show, it always makes me giggle because, you know, sometimes we have people who are opening up about some really serious addiction stuff, as we've had in recent weeks. We have people who talk about why they abandoned their lives to go into social work because it felt like they just really needed a change that was about altruism. We've had that in recent weeks. We've had all sorts of stuff. And then every once in a while, you get one like this where it's a guy who just really loves Halloween decorations. Turns out, I love Halloween decorations too. So we have a lot to talk about. You know, sometimes we talk about injuries that take you away from your factory job, and we see if you can make the leap to cam loops, like last week's episode. And then sometimes it's just, I set up decorations on my lawn that got so intense that hundreds of people lined up down the block to come check it out. And we get to just kind of bro out about that. That's human communication as well. That's very real. That's very connected. And we are midway through October. So if you're out there, I hope this episode might motivate you to join the network of us who go a little too hard on making our lawns scary. I will tell you, I got a neighbor down the block. My neighbors, they have 5 kids, and one of those kids is the same age as Cal, and they've been buddies since the day we moved here. And that kid's oldest brother has long told me, you will never scare me on Halloween. And just yesterday, I set up a bunch of my stuff, and he came by, and one of the things on my lawn this year is like this. It looks like a ghost of a girl, but it has a little motion detector, and its head pops up and a second more demonic head is inside, and it scared the kid. So that has happened since this call. And caller, thank you for being one of the motivating factors in that happening, helping me scare the youth of New Jersey, keep these kids in check. Anyway, this one's fun. This one's joyous. I hope you dig it. If you really dig it, think about supporting the show by signing up at beautifulanonymous.com for Beautiful Anonymous Plus. It's the best thing you can do to help enjoy the show more for yourself and also support the show in a way that has a profound impact on the show's present and future. Anyway, I'll get going now. You enjoy this phone call.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hello?
Hey, Chris.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, busy, but good.
You got your reunion, Friday, right? The Chris Gethard show?
Yes, the Chris Gethard show has been dead for 6 years. Kind of came back to life out of nowhere. We're doing a reunion show to help launch the UCB Theater in New York. They got a new space. That's where we started. We started the Chris Gethard show there 15 years ago, and I don't know. I'm freaking out a little bit, but not too bad. I think it's going to be good. I have been looking. There's like an old banner we used to hang up in the background of our show, and I cannot find the thing for the life of me, and I'm starting to stress about that. But life is good. Things are good.
Just roll out a dumpster and everybody will be happy.
This is the one thing we could do to make people happy. It's funny because generally no one knows about the Gethard show, and then most of the people do are only aware that I once did a thing with a dumpster.
It's like I think that's the only episode I've seen because I found you through like This American Life, and then been listening ever since. I was like, let me check out the show, and then like that was always the one that the YouTube algorithm would send over. So yeah. I mean, I hear you. A lot of people try to follow me, and then it's like, hey, here's a weird video from 2015 of this person doing something insane, and me then turn around being like, well, I'm a dad now. I have a mortgage now. I'm very different. I'm not ashamed of my past, but what was happening back there? Anyway, how are you? Now that we've discussed how I am. I'm good, and I relate completely because while Andrew put me on hold, I was speedrunning making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and getting Bluey queued up for my 2-year-old that I just picked up from play school.
Oh, I love that. Bluey is the best. I've said it on this show before.
It is.
Yeah, so she's set, Bluey's set, so we're gonna have a quiet phone call.
I like that. But those episodes are only like 12 minutes long. So your kid's gonna shotgun
But they queue up one after another, so it's good to go.
Oh, your kid's gonna be so psyched. Your kid's gonna be psyched. Well, congrats on being a dad.
Well, it's like she's our second. We've got a 5-year-old who's actually about a month younger than Cal. So
kindergarten as well this year?
Yes, yeah. So
were there tears? Were there tears on that first day drop off?
Not too bad. Which my wife teaches first grade at the same school, so
nice.
It helps that she basically takes her and she hangs out in her classroom when she's not in her classroom, basically.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we decided to send Cal on the bus, and he was kind of like, why is everybody asking me if I'm ready? What's the big deal? I've been to preschool before. But when he was climbing onto that bus for the first time, he looked back at us with this look on his face that I will never forget, where I just wanted to just shout.
Just like the pure fear.
Just this, like, he was actually playing it pretty cool. He was actually playing it really cool, but we know him so well, obviously, that he just had this look in his eyes, and I just wanted to, like, at the top of my lungs, be like, it's going to be fine. You're going to be fine, man. You're going to be good. Just trust me, you're going to be good. But he had his little poker face on, but I could see through it.
Yeah, they try to be tough, that's for sure.
Yeah, but he's already rolling with the punches.
Good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we actually saw you in Atlanta right before he was born. It was because we spoke on the maybe the not COVID episode, I think, where everybody was calling in talking about anything but COVID. And so we were there the night that Carmen faked you out with the phone call, thinking that that she was going into labor.
That was really scary. I think we've mentioned it on the show before, but yes, I was touring with my friend Carmen Christopher. This was at a stretch when Hallie had entered the window of, like, we're not near her due date, but if the baby shows up, that's okay. And everybody who's, been there knows the window I'm talking about of, like, all right, just, like, have your go bag ready because could happen. Probably won't, but could. And I always would leave my phone with Carmen and say, if Hallie calls, you pick it up. And if she goes into labor, stop the show. And he did that night, run out and freak everybody out. Because I told them, if my wife goes into labor, I'm so sorry, I will be walking off stage and heading home. It's pretty easy to get a flight to New York from Atlanta. And everybody would chuckle. And then he came running out at one point. Everyone thought my wife was having a baby. And it was very funny.
You had a mild heart attack, and then he's like, do you have a charger?
Fucking with you, dude. Chill out. Yeah, then he asked me if I had a charger. That's right. What an asshole. I still have to get him back for that. Still have to get him back for that. Anyway, thanks for coming to the show.
Oh, yeah. It was a good time. One of the last few free times I've had.
I bet. And you got the 2.
Yeah, you should really go for the second one, man. Talk about exhaustion.
I got to tell you, man, I'm good. I love having the one, but I can't imagine doing it again. I'm too old.
I'm 42, and my wife's 40, so I'm like, no, thank you. I'm not going to do this again.
Yeah, you got to reserve some time for yourself at the end of life. You got to do it.
Yeah. So
now, did you want to talk about fatherhood today, or I wasn't sure if this is what you wanted to talk about? I'm very happy to keep following it, really wherever you want to go. I
told Andrea it is an ADHD grab bag of stuff, so I can kind of give you a rundown and let you choose, because they're not necessarily full calls. But I told her, since it's almost Halloween, we used to do big Halloween displays in our yard before kids.
That is a
we pull in like 800 kids a night.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, and we're in a town of like 1,200 people.
Oh, so your house was the house for Halloween. That was the thing people did on Halloween.
Right, we were on like the main drag, and for 5-6 years, I would basically the month of October just go build a new set for the yard. And there's always like one jump scare out in the yard for the people.
Okay. no joke. Do you know that have you picked up on the fact, have I talked about it publicly, that I'm kind of aiming towards what you had?
No, I knew you liked Halloween,
Yeah,
and that you liked to scare the kids, and I knew you were big into lawn care. But I didn't.
And you listen.
I didn't know that you were becoming the Halloween house.
You know that those things do weirdly tie together, because when you're setting up a Halloween display and you care about your lawn, you got to just set it up in a way where you know you're sacrificing some of that potential lawn's health.
You get the one good last cut before you put everything out.
You get that last cut in, and then you try to time it where maybe it's overgrown in a way that's like kind of adds to the spookiness, but doesn't pass a tipping point where it's going to affect the long-term health of the lawn.
Right.
Now, can I let you know where I'm at with Halloween stuff? And then I want your advice, and I want to hear how ridiculous things got with you. So we moved into our neighborhood, and everybody here, we moved in May, and people were like, just so you know, it's like a big Halloween neighborhood. A lot of kids from the area come and trick or treat here, and people go pretty big with their decorations. And I was like, game on. Now, one thing that you should know about me is from 1999 until about 2004, I worked at a magazine called Weird New Jersey, which is the best magazine that exists. It's largely about haunted and strange places, people, and things all around the great state of New Jersey. Absolute dream job. So I was like, I'm the Weird New Jersey guy. They think I'm not going to go big for Halloween. What I didn't realize year one is I walk around the neighborhood and it's like, oh, this person has like a big grinning inflatable Slimer from Ghostbusters, or like a big spider web that connects from over their door and then spreads out, like cute cartoonish stuff. Like, yeah, they went pretty big, but it was cute. Meanwhile, I'm out here, I've got these realistic latex zombie babies. I've got a literal 20-foot tall ghost that inflates in the middle of the night and glows purple. And then I just started adding to it. So the first year I lived here, everybody thought I was like an actual like Satanist, like an actual evil, like weirdo. And then they got to know me and realized I was just going big. And now I add to it a little bit every year. Last year I added a big, gigantic, robotic devil. I got all kinds of stuff. And
it's not helping the satanic theme for you.
No, but at least now people know me. But like I noticed, it was like year one, people were like, "What's this guy's deal?" Year two, people started stopping and taking pictures, and like taking pictures of their kids, and then asking their friends, "Can you take a picture of me?" And I'm like, "Oh, they're Instagramming my lawn. My lawn is now the Instagrammable Halloween lawn." And then year three, and this is where we start crossing a Rubicon that I need your advice on. I started tying in, I had actual signage. I don't want to admit this on the show. Never mind. No,
come on.
Oh, no.
It's anonymous. Nobody will ever know.
Yeah, right. Is that how that works? I'm the only person on this show for whom it's not anonymous. I said, you know, it'd be cool, tie it into my old Weird New Jersey days. I went and had signs printed about actual local legends in the area and started building the displays to tie into them. So like, here's this nearby park that has a story of a ghost, and here's that ghost with a sign about it. There's a famous place in Jersey called the Devil's Tree that's not close to my house, but it's not too far. I put out a tree limb and I claimed this is a piece of the Devil's Tree, and there's a local legend about the Devil's Tree that if you touch it, you die. Do you have the guts to touch the Devil's Tree? And I started tying them into local legends, and people were like, this is getting cool now, man. And I'm thinking this year, my house is built in a way where you can go up and around the garage, through the backyard, and then down the other side. I'm like, do I build some sort of haunted trail or path around my property? This is where my brain goes. And my wife is like, you're a very busy person. You don't have time for this. But this is how it starts, right?
That's how it starts. We never did the path. Well, we're on the main drag, so we did the front yard. I never let him in the backyard.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how your house is laid out. Like, we had like a little shed and stuff back there, and I just know people are going to roam off the path and mess with stuff. So it's like, I'm going to keep you contained where I can see you.
I've thought about that I would need to I would need to use some sort of lighting system to delineate the exact path that they're allowed to walk.
Right. Yeah, I would, unless you've got people back there watching too. That I personally wouldn't, but I don't trust people.
That means I might have to be sitting that back there in the back all night. Now, what did you do? How big did things get that it became an 800-person a year attraction?
Yeah, I was looking because I guess would dox myself if somebody goes and looks. There's a YouTube playlist of all the ones we did. I think 2012 was the first year we did it, and I just had like some. I bought some like Tyvek suits, painted them yellow like hazmat suits, and made like a zombie infected house, like put little bloody handprints all over the house. And so it wasn't a whole lot. And that was back in the day of Google Plus. So I had a webcam on one of the dummies, watching everybody at the steps, and you could live stream it back at your house. And the plan was people could talk through the dummy to the people, but nobody was actually watching, so it didn't work. But then the next year we did Walking Dead in 2013, and how I never killed anybody, I don't know, because I used an air compressor and like a pneumatic cylinder that had no pressure regulator on it. So I had a zombie right by the road that would basically his whole torso would jump out at people, and so it's like, one, it's flying at 20 miles an hour towards them. But also they're right at the road. So there's several people in the video. You can see like run down my driveway into traffic, trying to get away from it. So I think that solidified what we were doing. And it's like, it wasn't anything major. Like, I'm not trying to be like a haunted attraction. It's like, still come get your candy, whatever all. But I'd always have like one prop that I would try to work on. So I've done that. I did like Harry Potter one year, just kind of a Monster Mash one year. And basically, it's a small town, and we're on the main drag, so everybody sees me the whole month setting up for it. And so then, by the time Halloween actually comes around, they all make sure they line up to come see what's going to jump out of my wear.
Now, let's be clear. When you say you had an unregulated air canister, I can say, because I drive on the First Aid Squad, we have oxygen tanks. And one of the big things that they say is that after you use them, you have to bleed them. You have to make sure those regulators are not under too much pressure, because those things can become rockets that could kill a person.
Well, what it is, it's from a site called Fright Props. So, it's an actuator made for props. And I probably had the air compressor set at whatever PSI it was rated for. And we had like a little remote trigger. So people would think it's motion activated, but really, like, my nephew or somebody was back there watching people, and he'd let them play with it for a minute before he'd trigger it at them, so it caught them off guard. But like the zombie, and this first year I made one, has this pneumatic piston, kind of like at the collarbone, which is just melted PVC pipe. So it's not soft either, and with a head attached to it. And so it's just shooting out at people. And there's a couple people in the video, they're right there at it whenever it basically hits them in the face almost. Nobody got hit somehow or another. It's like, and I don't do it anymore, so no more lawsuits.
And now it starts with like, oh, we set up this webcam idea, some bloody handprints. And now year 2, we've got a pressurized rocket zombie. And then it's game on. It's game on from that point, right? And every year you got to top yourself.
Right. And I'm so bad on timing that half the time I was building them the day of. So I know at least 1 or 2 years they broke midway through the night.
Bummer.
Because like we had the zombie for Walking Dead. For Harry Potter, we had a big rubber snake like with Nagini or whatever it is, that Voldemort's little pet, that would shoot out at people. I had a Demogorgon for our Stranger Things year, and he kind of broke first thing. He'd scream at people, but his head kind of broke. But that was also the year I got the local junkyard to haul an unmarked white van and dump it in my yard for a month. My wife really appreciated that.
Excuse me.
The first season of 2016 was the first season of Stranger Things. So people really didn't know what the show was very well, not like it is today. But I happened to find our local junkyard had a random white panel van sitting out in their lot. So I called them up like, hey, can you just come dump this in my yard for me? And then I went to the local sign shop and got them to make the Hawkins Power and Light vinyl to the side of it. So that was parked in my yard for a month, and people thought I just had a new job.
So you just had a creepy van in the yard. This is when it started to become a little bit of an obsession. What's the peak? What did you pull off when you're like, okay, we go from pneumatic rocket zombie to a junkyard has been convinced to lend us a van? how big did it get as far as you going, here's the year where the fewest things broke, where the most things went well, where I felt best about it?
I really think the earlier years I liked, like the Harry Potter year I really liked, because we had like projection portraits that looked kind of like the portraits they had in the castle that move around. You had the jumping stake that worked for most of the night. And I like the Walking Dead one just because it's the first one and nobody knew what to expect. And I still like people running in the traffic. The years further on, like it got more rushed, and I think I was trying to do bigger. So it kind of, the quality kind of dropped. And then by we moved our new house in 2020. The 2018 was our last year doing it because people were trying to pick fights with like my family members that are out there in costumes. Like, this isn't a haunted attraction. These are people just hanging out in my yard. And then there's people like trying to throw punches at them. Like, that's not what we're here for.
Why are they trying to throw punches? At what family members? Like your wife or cousins or whom? Whom is getting in fights with?
Like the nephews who were like, my little nephews who probably back then were 11, 12-ish maybe. Were in like clown costumes, just being kids dressed up trying to scare people. But then you have like the college kids coming through, like just trying to like tackle them in the bushes. It's like, that's not what we're here for. Like, we're trying to make people jump, keep it family centered. Things like, so 2018 or 19, we just kind of went dark. Like, y'all did this. We're not going to do it again. So.
And is the whole town sad when you don't do it anymore?
Yeah, they were. And then we moved off the main street. So like nobody really comes here. They drive through. I'm starting to decorate a little bit more now.
Will you ever go back to the level that it was at, or is it that was of its era?
That was of its era because now we got kids. We basically just put a bowl of candy on the porch, and the yard's decorated and lit up and looks nice. But there's no jump scares and there's nobody manning any of it. Like, here, come get your candy, enjoy the scene. But we're somewhere else getting candy for the kids.
Now, I have to ask, and I hate to laugh, but
oh, you're fine.
When you convince your nephew, like, because I'm piecing it all together, you got some nephews, they're maybe like a little old for trick-or-treating themselves, but they're still literally down to clown. They're down to clown, but they're like, we don't want to go house to house anymore. They're probably, 15, 16, maybe. I don't know. You guys want to come scare the people?
They were like preteen. They were like...
Even better. 12,
they loved it because 13. They've been there since the first year. Yeah.
Now they get to be a part of it. So now let's say 13, just so it has teen at the end so that listeners don't have to feel totally awkward. The first time you realized that your little nephew who you dressed up jumped out at a college student who then went linebacker on his ass and put him in the bushes, how guilty do you feel? Or do you like flip out now you're trying to fight a college student? How does that go?
Well, I think I didn't see it happen. I think he came up crying to like his dad, and it's like
dressed as a
whoever
clown
did it was gone. Yeah, the crying clown comes up, say like people were trying to beat him up. And it's like I didn't see it, but we were just kind of on high alert the rest of the night. And you're like, okay, let's just keep an eye on this, and then we're going to shut it down next year. Because you can't stop it. Well, I mean, I guess you could, but it's like you have literally a line from your front door down the road to get candy. It's like...
And so is that final year? Are you all just now standing on high alert? Like, we don't know if people are coming here to try to beat up our clowns? And that's as good a time as any to pause as we just think about clowns getting beaten. That puts you in the mood to buy some services and products, doesn't it? Well, hey, check these ones out. We'll be right back. Therapy has changed my life. It has saved my life many times over. First started going to therapy over 20 years ago, and it was really hard back then. It's really hard. It was way more stigmatized. It was hard to sort out with insurance. You had to drive to oftentimes very sort of sanitized feeling office parks and go and sit with a person and then commute back and overthink it. And if you didn't like it, what do? You've already invested time. Are you just going to stick with something you don't love? Are you going to reinvest that time? It was always so difficult. And in recent years, that has changed a lot. And I'll tell you, so honestly, one of the reasons that has changed is Talkspace. Talkspace
has long advertised on this show, and I've long been impressed that a lot of the directions that therapy has gone, even in the time Talkspace has been an advertiser with us, you can see that Talkspace had it figured out ahead of the curve. It can be so challenging to find and meet a therapist that's a good fit. Talkspace is so accessible. You can do it from anywhere. You can do it online, from the comfort of your home, from the quiet of your car. You can do it on your terms, in your space, and it's also really affordable. Talkspace is in network with most insurance providers. Most insured members have a $0 copay. That's why Talkspace is the leading virtual therapy provider, and they make getting the help you need easy, accessible, and affordable. You can sign up online. You can get paired with a licensed provider that's the right fit for your needs. That usually happens within 48 hours. And if you need to switch providers, that is at no extra cost. You can talk it out between sessions. This is revolutionary. You can send messages to your therapist. And I know that feeling so well, where you talk to your therapist and it's been a couple weeks and you're going, I remember feeling like this and that, but that moment has passed and I kind of wish that I could tell you where my head was at. But no, if you get that down on record while it's happening, that makes it ripe for discussion in the moment. And what a cool, simple, yet another forward-thinking development by Talkspace. Talkspace, by the way, has a lot of personalized treatment for individuals, couples, the LGBTQIA plus community, veterans, teens. There are people with all sorts of specializations that can help you out right now. And as a listener of this podcast, you'll get $80 off of your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/beautiful and enter the promo code SPACE80 to match with a licensed therapist today. Go to Talkspace.com/beautiful, enter the promo code SPACE80, that's SPACE80. You'll get $80 off of your first month and show your support for the show. That's Talkspace.com/beautiful, promo code SPACE80.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Thanks to all of our sponsors. Now, let's get back to the phone call. So is that final year? Are you all just now standing on high alert? Like, we don't know if people are coming here to try to beat up our clowns? And now we just got to be tense for the whole night?
Well, I think the kids probably they probably toned themselves down too and just kind of hung out. Because we would always have food for the family, so they may have just gone in and chilled out. Like once that kind of happened, it's like, okay, let's just leave it to the props in the yard and just get through the rest of the night and be done.
Now, I have to keep asking questions because this is legit. I am known,
you're fine. Go for it.
I'm known as the Halloween guy in my neighborhood. This might be all we talk about, unless there's something else you really want to get to. I have to ask, how many years in before the local police visit you and in good-natured fashion are like, so, you gonna go big again with the thing? Because we might need to send somebody out. Like, how many years in before the cops are like, we might need to shut down the road if you're gonna do the thing?
I think they'd come by and turn their lights on to say, hey, but they never really made visits. And we never did gore. That's one thing I wasn't going to do. Like, I'm not going to have the dead body stuck under the garage door, stuff like where people are going to call hey, I think somebody got murdered over here.
That's what I do. I go for stuff like that. Now, how did you arrange it in a way when you say you've got lines of hundreds of people? Is it here's a starting point and you're almost building a maze or a point-to-point thing for them to walk through? Or is it, how did you arrange it that many people?
No, it was just, It was the front yard was decorated. We didn't really like rope out a path, but basically you'd have people roaming around whatever was in the yard that year. But pretty much in the middle of the yard out to the sidewalk, you'd have like the line of the kids. They'd kind of curve on down the road at the peak of trick or treat hours. But like there's plenty of times where it was just like people roaming the yard and not a line. But during the peak season of the night or whatever, it'd be from the front porch down to the road, and they just kind of queue up and come on through.
Now, this is perhaps the greatest cautionary tale for me, because I keep going, I want to build my yard into more of a haunted attraction. And everything you're telling me is that this got out of control within a pretty short number of years, and that it was probably a blessing that you moved and were able to shut it down.
If you do it right, it would be fine. And the other thing that was the fact that I changed themes every year, so like I couldn't reuse much of anything.
It sounds like
it's
so
I'm
much
just
work.
blowing money that I don't have. Yeah, like the whole month I'm out till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning building stuff in the backyard. So by the time you get to Halloween, like I'm exhausted. I'm done. Like let's. I hope these people like it, and I hope I get a lot of good video, because that's the only reason I'm doing this at this point. Like I'm done.
So there's very little joy in it
Whereas
for
now
you by the end.
Yeah, especially towards the later years. Like the first few years, like it was neat to see, like it was the challenge of building it. Can you make it look all themey? By the end, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of broke. But
Yeah, because it does.
if you kept the same theme and just added to it every year, it's not so bad.
My commitment has been that I don't add more than one kind of big set piece a year, and that I grow it out over time.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Which is a little more rational than what you did, which was like, let me tear down the entire Walking Dead thing and do a Stranger Things. Let me tear down all of that and do Harry Potter, because that sounds like so much work.
Yeah, it's like you're building walls and you're building columns and you're building fences and you're building all this other, and then you just like I would store it behind the shed for like a year or two to see if I could use it, and then it's like, okay, it's all scraps, and then it's like you just trash the lumber. It's like, or you pull pieces off that you could reuse, but like after a while, it's like, okay, I spent a lot of money on this pile of shit behind the shed.
Now, I'm going to ask you an insider question. Where
All right.
It sounds like you're custom building a lot of your stuff, but as far as some of these things you're getting is like, so, you know, you were saying you're building like pneumatic systems that were built for props. Where are you going?
Right.
Because, you know, every area now has those Spirit of Halloween stores, but I don't think you're doing that. That's too pedestrian for you.
Yeah, like everybody goes to Spirit, so you're like, oh, that's the spider that jumps at you when you get near it or whatever. Like I wanted it to look like some random thing that looked stationary until you got up to it, basically. The two that I used, I assume they're still in business, is frightprops.com and Monster Guts was the other one. And it's like it's really like, I guess, for the real haunted houses that run a show 24/7.
Is that monsterguts.com?
Those are the ones I always use. Yeah, that was the main one I use.
Whoa.
And they've got like, yeah.
Whoa. I'm going inside right now. This shit's wild. Their products at Monster Guts include motors, pneumatic components, power supplies and adapters, sound effects, digital downloads, complete pneumatic kits, triggers and sensors. Wild. So this is like, you don't go and buy a big made thing from them. You buy a thing to power your home. That's what this is.
Yeah, they may sell full like animatronics and stuff, but if they do, it's like thousands and thousands of dollars. It's like what's the big convention, like Haunt World, where it's like the ones that like the professional haunted houses go and buy. But yeah, most of it's the pieces you need to make your own set pieces.
And Fright Props has a little bit more of the stuff I'm used to. Fright Props has a little bit more of you just go and buy some custom stuff.
Right.
What, a silicone baby werewolf for $323? I could spend my life savings at frightprops.com.
You need your 2,500 subscribers, so instead of a college fund, you just go to Fright Props.
Please, everybody sign up at beautifulanonymous.com. I promise none of the money will go to Cal. It will all go towards me having a sick-ass oh, there's a whole blood and gore section at Fright Props.
See?
This is the stuff my wife would
new
kill me
sponsor for the show, maybe.
My wife would kill me if I went too big on this. Oh, my God. Some of this stuff is actually disgusting. $135 for a dismembered chicken. A $75 skinned headless pig. Oh, no, it's a rabbit. Oh, my goodness. A head that looks like somebody chopped it off at a butcher shop.
You'll never look at spirit the same.
This is my actual dream. Was this something that you were interested, like, do you start doing it year one and then you find out about like these conventions and Fright Props and Monster Guts, or is this something that you had an interest in? Like, who were you that led you to this?
God, what a question. Who was I? I don't know what started it. Like, I've always been like the tinkerer, or like I was always a kid who'd break something, like pull it apart and then can never actually get it back together and work. But like I was always like the Lego motors and build this, and this. So I don't know where I got teamed up with like, hey, I think I can buy these motors and whatever all for. I don't know where that connection came. But like once it started, I'm like, okay, well, I can use an MP3 trigger for this thing, and I can buy these actuators here. And so, yeah, I've never been to like the convention. I've seen them on. There are always like the walkthroughs on YouTube. It's like, I mean, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of stuff there. I'm not my market. So,
but are you tempted to just go?
Yeah, I'd love to go. I would not take the kids. There's one year where it's like they had like some werewolf. I mean, they've had similar stuff like at Beard or Home Depot, where it's like this 8-foot tall werewolf, like with a screaming kid by the ankles, where he's slinging them around and whatever. All, I'm like, good Lord, messed up.
Oh, this is the best. This is the actual.
Yeah, you
best.
go ahead and buy that, and I'll come up to New Jersey and come through the backyard walkthrough while your wife and Cal are just looking with disappointment out the window.
What do you do professionally?
I work for the government. I do like IT work, and since COVID, I've been working from home. So
you just work from home, government job, IT. Those are like stable person job. That's a stable person job. Being the Halloween house guy is not a stable person choice.
No. Well, okay. Well, here's instability. Right. Well, when I was in college, I got a co-op with the local Air Force base with a government job there. And I quit that from its guaranteed, this was back in mid 2000s, like $50,000 job to go start a photography studio, which
what studio?
You've seen, I've run back to the government now, a photography studio.
Photography studio. Okay.
So I've done photography professionally for a few years. That was fun. And now I work IT, and I do have an Etsy side hustle to help the ADD. So.
Wait, you have a what side hustle?
Oh, Etsy, like an Etsy store.
Etsy.
So that's my nighttime. Yeah.
So that's where the tinkering energy goes now instead of the Halloween decorations.
Yeah, it's all 3D printing and trying to pay for a Disney trip at the moment.
Oh, that's so nice. So you got that
Which
side
you just
hustle.
got back from Disney, right?
Yeah, we went for my parents' 50th wedding anniversary.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah, it was really nice. Really nice to go there with a little kid. It felt good. Yeah. That's so nice. So you kind of say like, here's the Etsy store and I compartmentalize this money and we're going to build towards something really nice for the kids with that.
In theory, yeah. It usually vomits all over every other thing for the kids. But yeah, hopefully from now to November, it is solely focused on that bill from Mickey Mouse.
I love this. I love this so much. Did you ever go big for other holidays? Are you Christmas house as well, or was it pure Halloween?
we do decent at Christmas. Like we're not like the tacky. It's not like these holiday light fight people where it's like all the Trans-Siberian Orchestra with spotlights 50 feet in the air. I always called them my apology lights. I told people, like, listen, Halloween's going down. Give me a few weeks, and the apology lights will be up. So it'll be pretty for Christmas.
Oh,
and it's just kind of a classic Christmas yard.
Did you have any neighbors that hated the Halloween thing?
Not verbally. Like, nobody, like, some people will get, like, notes in their yard, like, how tacky their stuff is. Like, no, people are usually asking me mid-summer, like, what the theme was for the year, because they knew I'd already be working on it or thinking about it. No, for the most part, it was well loved by the town.
That's good. We have some neighbors who I think are not a huge fan of mine. Like, somebody walked a dog by once and saw one of the things I put up and was like, that one's a little bit much, man. And I think I got a little jersey on it and was like, oh, cool. I don't remember fucking asking. And we had like a tense moment on my front lawn with like a neighbor who I like, but who got just like, you know, there's a way to talk to me about it that's not like, I'm like, if you want to do that, then I'm...
Right. Like, that's not the way.
No, come talk to me. Probably have you convinced to hang out here on
you
Halloween.
think this is much, just... That's when you pull up your website, like, hey, look at the Sprite props. Like, just keep talking.
You don't know how much money I'm about to waste. And Fright Pop, generally quality stuff over at Fright Props?
Yeah, like, I mean, it's like professional quality. Like, you're not going to get anything cheap there for the most part.
You have no
the
idea
stuff
how
that
much...
I've gotten has been good quality.
You honestly have no idea how much money you have personally cost me.
I'm so sorry.
By showing me these.
And listen, you got to focus on your reunion show. You can't be shopping for Halloween between now and Friday.
Dude, you can just get severed ears for $9, and they look completely fucked up and real.
I mean, everybody needs a bag.
Oh, there's some really, truly horrible things on this site. You can buy these things that look like realistic dead corpses and leave them on your lawn. You can leave actual dead body, things that look like real dead bodies, latex dead bodies that you can just leave all over your lawn.
Yeah, and it's like I've seen people who do it. Like I can't do it.
I don't want to be one of these people where the SWAT team shows
like,
up at my goddamn... I don't need the SWAT team showing up, you know?
Right.
That being said...
Yeah, like, I've seen people who have, like they'll have, like, just the torso and the legs hanging out from under the garage door with, like, a blood splatter all up on the door. I'm like, I can't. Like, because somebody's going to show up. And it's like, I don't need that kind of attention.
See, I did a smart thing, which is I started getting Cal into it young. Of like, Cal, me and you are going to team up and scare everybody in the neighborhood. All the other kids, we're going to scare them. So he has claimed a little bit of ownership on it, and that means that he doesn't get too freaked out by the insane nonsense that I often have all over our lawn.
Yeah, I think we took our oldest to Spirit a couple years ago. Like some of the animatronics scared her. So like she went and got one of your zombie babies that was like rocking it like a baby.
Yeah,
she's fine.
Yep.
Or we took them both to somewhere the other day, and it was some skeleton animatronic that was singing. So they're both just sitting there tap dancing in the store to it. I'm like, okay, y'all are good. Y'all are my kids.
Now I'm not trying to disparage the business because they do good stuff, and I've spent money there. Spirit of Halloween. If me and you are going to get honest about this, a lot of their animatronic stuff breaks after year one. It doesn't make it too long. Now
it's cheap.
Here's a corporation that you can tell someone in their corporate chain just clearly has a personal obsession with Halloween because they have great Halloween stuff that is way more fucked up than you would ever anticipate for this particular business. And a lot of people probably can figure out. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Not yet.
Home Depot.
Is it like one of the... They do have... They have... And they're a lot better than Lowe's. Yeah, Home Depot's got some good Halloween stuff.
Home Depot has some insane stuff where you're like, this is the place where I go the rest of the year when I'm like, oh, my dehumidifier broke in my basement. Let me just run up to Route 10, go to the Home Depot. I think they'll have a new dehumidifier. And then from late August through early November, it's like, or if you want to buy a literally 12-foot tall
animatronic bull with glowing eyes that breathes smoke and jumps at people when they walk by because it's got motion detectors. You can also get that at Home Depot. And I honestly wish that there was a think piece, because I'm convinced that they must make money on it, but that there has to be someone high up. I'm sure they do, but I also think there has to be someone pretty high up on their board or in their chain of command who's just completely like you and me and obsessed with Halloween. Because I don't really see how else they have all this ludicrous shit at Home Depot. It doesn't totally add up.
No, because it's not just like they start off. I know they lots of them had skeletons. When they hit that 12-foot skeleton, like that thing just went gangbusters all over the internet. And people leave them up year round now.
I know, man. The scourge of neighborhoods.
But then you also get like a kitten that's been run over. So it's just like, I don't know. I don't know who's behind all of that.
Yeah, if you want like a cackling, grinning, evil-looking jack-o'-lantern that's taller than your kid, Home Depot has those for you. Home Depot's got those.
Yep.
It is true. Home Depot has everything, and I'm utterly convinced that someone high up in their corporate chain is a Halloween obsessive. I bet there's a think piece out there that I can find. And if not, someone should write it anyway. We'll be right back. I will tell you, very genuinely, that I live quite publicly, and I've made a lot of stuff that has sort of cult status, and I'm proud of that. Who wouldn't be? It's very cool. But it has also opened me up as someone with a public life where there are times where I've been stalked. I've been harassed. It's really scary. Privacy matters a lot to me, more than I ever thought it would. And I bet some of you are out there as well. You're in the same boat as me. You've maybe got some information out there. You maybe have a family now. Maybe your life has moved in a direction where you need that data protected more than you ever have. I'm so psyched to tell you about Delete Me, a service that I really believe in because they've helped me so much. They've given me peace of mind. They have made me feel safer. You can't beat that for a personal endorsement, that I used the service and it makes me feel safer. Your personal data is out there. It's on the internet for anyone to see. There's more of it out there than you think. Start sniffing around. You'll see your name, contact info. You can find your social security number sometimes out there, your home address, info on your family members and their addresses. It gets so wild how much is out there. And basically, there are these sites called data brokers. They get this info. They sell it online. They make a profit off of your data. That's their commodity. People can buy your details off the web from them. But now you can protect your privacy with Delete Me. Again, as someone who exists publicly, okay, I share a lot of opinions online. I've made a lot of stuff that people have connected with. It's created some intense situations, and it's very, very easy for people to find info about you. It's out there on the internet that can have actual real-world consequences. We're talking about things like access to your bank account, talking about doxing, talking about all sorts of stuff. And I can tell you that I personally recommend Delete Me because I have been in some of these situations. And I was using other services that claimed they could get my info off the web, and I thought they were doing a good job. And I'm not trying to throw shade, but I will tell you, when I started with Delete Me, they found dozens of spots where my info was out there that the other sites had missed. And that right there is all I need to be able to tell you that Delete Me has your back. You can sign up and provide Delete Me with information you want deleted specifically. Their experts get to work from there. They also send you regular personalized privacy reports showing what info they found, where they found it, what they removed. Those are fascinating to me because Delete Me, it's not just a one-time service. They're always working. They're constantly monitoring and removing your personal information you don't want on the internet. I mentioned that they found dozens of sites that other sites have missed. They have also given me those personalized privacy reports showing which sites are trying to add my info back on, and that Delete Me keeps going on and pulling it. It's a breath of fresh air to get those reports. I'll put it simply for you. Delete Me does the work. The hard work of wiping your and your family's personal info from these data broker websites. Take control of your data. Keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. And now we have a special discount for our listeners. Today, you get 20% off your Delete Me plan. When you go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful, use the promo code beautiful at checkout.
The only way to get 20% off is go to joindeleteme.com/beautiful. Enter the code beautiful at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/beautiful. The code is beautiful.
Stop wasting time scrolling through endless clickbait, social media, and emails trying to keep up with the news. Instead, listen to all the news you need in just 10 minutes.
Welcome to The Newsworthy.
The Newsworthy podcast makes it faster, easier, and more enjoyable to get unbiased news on the go.
It helps us navigate the news without feeling overwhelmed.
Even when my time is limited.
So much detail and information in 10 minutes.
Listen now by searching The Newsworthy in your podcast app or go to thenewsworthy.com.
Thanks again to all of our sponsors. Now let's finish off the phone call. Yeah, if you want like a cackling, grinning, evil-looking jack-o'-lantern that's taller than your kid, Home Depot has those for you. Home Depot's got those.
Yep. And see, like when we grew up, it was just a little jiggly white ghost that said, "Woo!"
Yeah, man.
You get at the drugstore.
Yeah.
But, there was a time growing. I did always like Halloween because there's this one time that, looking back now, I realized what I did. But my dad or somebody in my family, or I bought it at like a drugstore. It was a mid '80s or '90s cassette tape. It was Halloween songs or sounds, but there's a track on it that I guess was supposed to be a woman getting attacked by an alien or a demon or whatever all. But hearing it now, like, it is a full blown sexual experience. I had a boombox out my bedroom window blasting us into the neighborhood.
No wonder you're so obsessed with Halloween. How old were you when that happened?
Oh, this was like, I was probably 11, 12 doing this. And then it's like probably like late 30s. I'm like, I heard it again, like, oh, that's not what I thought it was. And that's what all the neighbors heard.
So you're telling me you're the person that goes way too big on Halloween to the point where it became like a little bit obsessive. And it turns out that when you were just at the forefront of prepubescence, that an overly sexualized Halloween tape was a factor imprinted into your... There's a sexual fetish side to this lawn. We all just discovered this together. Your Halloween display, a psychoanalyst could make money off of this. That this is sexually imprinted into your mind.
Well, the bad thing is, but I don't know that there were any yard decorations when I did it. So
you're just chasing that adrenaline rush from back then. You're just chasing that dopamine.
Yeah, and my next door neighbor was a preacher. So.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, everything about this is starting to add up.
I'll probably dox myself and send you the videos. So I'm pretty sure there's a YouTube video of that tape, and I'll find it and I'll send it out to you.
Please.
But,
please send me that.
I will.
I love it. I love it so much. So much. There's one aspect of Halloween in New Jersey that I have to talk about that other parts of the country, not there's a handful of places. We have a thing called Mischief Night, which is that the day before Halloween, that night is dedicated towards like active destruction and toilet paper and egging houses and all this stuff. And I love it. I love Halloween so much. I think it's clearly tied into like the old religions that predated Judeo-Christian spread in the world, and they are largely now it's probably the biggest non-religious holiday I can think of, or non-patriotic holiday I can think of. And I sit here and I just absolutely love it so much. I just love it so much. And It's a joy to talk to somebody else who went way too big with Halloween nonsense. And this is getting me excited. It's making me feel like it's making me feel like I actually need to it's making me feel like I actually need to go even bigger. There was a stretch where your story was becoming cautionary, where I was like, maybe I should chill out. But now I'm actually realizing what I need to do is actually go much bigger. And thank you for reminding me of that.
You're welcome. Like there's no limit. Remember, props and credit cards, all you need, and just go balls to the wall.
Yeah. When you put it like that, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes.
Yeah.
This needs to happen. Have you ever added up how much money you spent on those displays when things were getting out of control?
No, I don't want to know. I know there's probably at least 1 year that I probably spent about $1,000 on lumber and whatever all, and this is all pre-COVID. Like I couldn't afford to do any of it now, which granted it's come back down some, but yeah. And then it's like I spent $1,000 on something I can't really reuse. It's not like I'm monetizing any of these videos to make any money. Like it's this pure enjoyment that I pretend I have a spare $1,000 to waste on this.
Yeah, it is bad. That's bad. And once you have kids too, because it sounds like most of this predated the birth of at least your second kid and probably your first.
Yeah, neither one of them really saw the yard displays.
That's for the best. That's
for the year or two before. It is. And it's like we take them out so they can go enjoy it. Like I'm not going to make them sit at home if they don't want to and just watch people come through, which like we're in a different neighborhood now that is just now building up with other houses. But I don't know how they're going to react to just a little bit that we do now. Yeah. But I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah, I get it. And I love it. I really love it so much. We have 16 minutes left. I'm not sure what to talk about because it does feel like we have concluded.
Is it that quick?
Yeah, I mean, we've spent 45 minutes
I think we're good on that.
On your lawn, so kudos. But let's also be honest, as another guy who's done what you've done, what you've tried to do, and there's people out there going much bigger than what you've described, where you turn around and you go, I'm going to...
Oh, absolutely. And
yeah, talk to me.
They'll be like, they'll listen to this and like, there's nothing to what you just said. Like, that's not a yard display.
No, but then to hear that you went as big as you did and 800 people start showing up, you sit there and you go, it's very easy to get sucked into this world.
Very much. So, I do have a random story, which wouldn't have been a full call anyhow, that I told Andrew about, is that in 2005, I was in college and I had a big break between my classes. So I was going to the local mall that was still open at the time. And there's a bus stop. And I found a notebook. And so I picked it up and started flipping through it and realized it was this guy fantasizing about this woman that he knew. And it's like all these sexual fantasies about how he wanted to kill her husband and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, oh, shit, what is this? So I took it home and it turns out like this whole stalker's diary about his obsession with this lady. And we found his Match.com profile, figured out who she was. And we ended up I ended up mailing it to the church she worked at anonymously, like, hey, here's this in case you need to know about it.
What? What, you mailed it to the lady it was about?
Random story. Yeah, like there were enough details in there that we figured out where she worked and figured out who he was. Because it turned out he worked at the local Walmart. And so I went to the Walmart one day and I saw him and he worked at the gun counter. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, great, he has no idea who I am or what I found. But it's like, okay, I have no idea if she got it. And it has bugged me that was 2005.
You never followed up?
20 years, I've wondered.
So wait.
I think I found her on Facebook.
Wait. So this journal had like real...
It was very graphic about him like screwing his pillow at night thinking about her and how he wanted her husband out of the picture, and I'm pretty sure he wanted to kill him and blah blah blah. I mean, it was disturbing, and it was not the first in the series. Like the first page of this started up from whatever the book before it left off.
And you're reading this, and you know we've all had that moment. Also, if anybody out there reads Found Magazine is a whole magazine dedicated to just random notes and things of that ilk that people find, and they publish them. And there's a fascination to that of like, oh, someone wrote this thing. You know, everybody has found that note in a parking lot somewhere, and you go, I wonder what this was even about. It seems like somebody was upset, blah, blah. But you found the version of that was truly like scary and has lived in your head ever since.
Yeah, and it's like, did you ever get it? Did anything happen? Like I think I found her on Facebook, but I'm also like, hey, did you get this really traumatic book 20 years ago in the mail anonymously? Because I sent it.
And she still lives in town?
Like, she's still in that town, which is about 30 miles away from here. Looks like she's divorced, but does not look like she's with what I remember that guy's picture to look like. So she's still alive. And I guess the husband was alive to be divorced from. But, yeah, I don't know.
And you were able to find out the guy's identity then, too? The writer's identity? Or were you only able to identify her identity via what was written?
We figured her out pretty easy because he was talking about the church she worked at and like what position she worked in that church. So we found their website and it had her name and as that position. But I think I went to school or went somewhere and I came back and my mom's like, hey, I found him. And she's like, I found his Match.com profile. And I forgot what she used in the book to be 99% sure it was him. And I think I made a copy of the book. I haven't been able to find it for 20 years. And I know it's somewhere.
What? I wouldn't even want that in my house after a certain point.
Well, it's gone somewhere. I mean, I thought I scanned it in, but it's this 2005. There was no cloud. It's probably on a dead hard drive somewhere if it exists. But I'm always like, are you okay? And did you ever get this? But I don't want to bring up any old trauma either. So
that's dark, man. Why are you calling up? First you talk about the playful side of Halloween, and then we start getting into some really dark stuff.
Did I mention my theme this year for the yard is Stalker's Diary and killing the husband?
Oh, my goodness. I didn't realize you were kidding for a second.
No, I think we're doing Ghostbusters.
I thought you were done. Now, it sounds to me like you're claiming, yeah, no, it's best it went away. But it sounds like you're going to slowly start building back up towards it.
No, I don't know, because it's just, there's no time.
Yeah. Got too much stuff going on with the kids. A stalker's diary. You found a stalker's diary on the ground.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? You sometimes have these moments in life. You come across something. It's usually on the internet in modern times. But sometimes it's like that. Where you're like, oh, there's stories unfolding amongst the people I'm just passing. And I think this show represents that in a certain way, but there's a dark side to it too. I remember you're bringing back a memory for me I remember once being at this park in my town growing up. It was on the way other side of town, but we used to play basketball there, and the town ran a bus in the summer to get around town, and we could get there. And I remember being there with some kids, and it was fun because it was we'd get dropped off without our parents. We were old enough. You play basketball, but then you'd wander to the McDonald's, and to get to the McDonald's, you'd bat Stag Field in West Orange. And then there was this area where there was this old giant abandoned pool, and then you'd cut through that in the woods. And we were walking back there once, and someone found some old Polaroid pictures on the ground. And it was that type of thing as a kid where you go, I'll never know the full story, but they were pornographic. And one of them was just a pretty close-up picture of a man's sizable semi-erect hog. So we were all like, whoa. And then another one was a naked lady. But I remember we were probably 13, 14 years old. And I remember the consensus among my friends being it wasn't hot. And to be the 13 and 14-year-old boys and find pictures of naked people and be this isn't hot, there's something creepy about these pictures. It was these Polaroids of a naked lady, and she didn't seem thrilled to be there. That wasn't, her expression was not seductive or sultry. It felt weird to the eyes of a horny 14-year-old boy and a group of us. And I forget who took them or if we just threw them down and ran away again. But you're bringing back that memory for me. This is a fantastic Halloween episode.
Yeah, for 14-year-old hormones to say this isn't sexy, I mean, that's rough.
Is finding that diary...
I can match that one.
Is that the most creeped out you've ever been? I've been thinking about this a lot lately, that when you're a kid, you realize when you get old, kids are kind of built to be scared. It's a survival instinct. So you're scared of the dark. And you're scared of noises you can't explain. And you're scared of stories that live in your head. And I see it now with my 5-year-old son, and it's bringing back all these memories of like, oh, I was constantly scared, but also like the human animal survives by having good fear instincts and getting away from things that want to hurt you, predators, bad situations. And then you grow up and you become an adult and you go, oh, that bump was probably just an acorn fell out of a tree and bounced off the roof. Or I'm not going to be scared of the dark because, you know, you got to bring out the garbage at night sometimes. And if you're just scared of the dark, how are you going to come and go and live a life? And you just learn to rationalize those instincts. Was finding that stalker's diary the most scared you've ever been as an adult?
I wasn't scared for myself, but I was definitely worried for, not for him, obviously, but for the lady and her husband. And it was like, okay, first I was like, what do I do with this? Like, I can't just sit on it. Like, it was bad enough for that. And like, okay, what's my plan of action to at least try to get this to her without bringing myself into it? That's why there's no return address. There's no name. I'm like, I think I had a letter like, I found this at the blah, blah, blah mall. I think you may want to read it, and just send it up to the church, to the office that she worked in. It's more like, I just wanted that to get to her so she could do what she needed to do. Like, it's not on me to chase that with the police. Like, 'cause I don't know, there may be something more to it, you know? It's like, that's not my part. But yeah, like it's lived rent free for 20 years in my head of what happened. So probably so.
Do you have any regret? Would you do it differently if it happened today?
I'd probably send her the copy and keep the real one.
Oh, that's the only change.
Because that's bugged me just as much. Like, I know there's a damn copy of this thing somewhere. That'd be the big change. Like, here's a photocopy. I kept the real one. But no, I mean, I did what I could do. I'm not going to alert that guy that I found his notebook. Because, I mean, I was, 22, 23, somewhere in there. Like, not my place. Like, just let the parties involved know and go from there.
You want to hear about the scariest thing I ever found? You're bringing back another memory.
Yeah, I do.
So one of the big things in New Jersey back when I was a teenager was there was a lot of abandoned mental hospitals, and we used to go and explore them. And a lot of this, it's actually very sad when you start to look into it, of like, oh, those hospitals were proving to be a place that was not, there was a lot of horrible things unfolding, not good treatment, so that when they started coming out with new drugs and treatments that said maybe we don't have to stick people in an asylum, we're not going to do it, a lot of those hospitals shut down. But I was once in one in North Princeton, New Jersey, the Skillman Hospital. And I was down there with my friend Katie in college. It was just the two of us. And we found an old handwritten nurse's log on the ground. We found 2 of them. And it was just the entries of a nurse at a mental hospital, just everything notable that happened. They had to write it by hand in this log. And we took them. And it was creepy. It was creepy to read, like, just the day-to-day logistics of what went down in this rather grim place. And then every once in a while it wasn't routine, and you'd realize, like, oh, something really unusual and intense happened and they had to deal with it. And here's they're very bored of it because they are the nurses that deal with things like this on a regular basis, but they're just matter-of-factly writing about a patient that flipped out and needed to be restrained. And you're like, we're in the basement of a mental hospital reading about this. This is so fucked up.
Like, I need to get out of here now.
Yeah, it was bad.
It'd be like, what was it, House on Haunted Hill, where was the remake of it was the mental asylum.
I tell you, I'm somebody who I will go into an abandoned mental hospital. I love my Halloween stuff. If you try to make me sit and watch a scary movie, I am running out of that theater. Can't do it. Can't handle it. Not into it.
No. Yeah, we were camping one time and somebody brought a TV camping. they were in a van and they had a portable TV and they were trying to play The Ring out in the middle of the woods. Like, I'm good. I don't need to see this out here.
On that movie.
Like, I don't think in wells nearby.
I watched that movie. I don't think I slept right for about 6 days after I watched that.
No.
Yeah, not good. Not good. Not good. It all goes back to that sexy tape. You listened to a sexy Halloween tape when you were 12 years old, and now this. Now it all leads to this conversation.
That's it. And how much time do we have left?
Let me check. We got 2.5 minutes for our. We're holding this one to Halloween. If this one doesn't come out for a while, don't be offended. It's because we're saving it because it's a great Halloween episode.
No, like I joined Touchtone and I tried to get in on that. It was like, okay, this is my Halloween story, so it's a good time of year for you to kind of cue it up. Nice. But no, with your film Polaroids, I worked at a photo lab one time for about a year, and this guy brought in all these pictures. Nasty guy, nasty girl, like just how many STDs were in these people? But he brought in just these god awful naked pictures of him and his girl doing their things, and my bosses, it wasn't a chain, so he's like, if it's not kids, we'll print it. And so he wanted a calendar for her Christmas present of all these nasty photos of whatever all. And he had this real distinctive laugh. And it's a small town, so I was with some friends a few months later, and we were at Huddle House, which is kind of like Waffle House, if I know you like it. And I hear the laugh. And I look, and he's the cook. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not going to eat any of this because I've seen that man and what he's got to.
This is legit. This episode went from like, let's talk about the joy of being the crazy Halloween house to I'm now genuinely kind of unsettled. And the fact that you're just sort of like a cheerful IT guy who's had these glimpses into the dark side of the human psyche and the human soul, I don't like it. But I also kind of love it.
Well, see, we didn't get to the photography side where, like, one groomsman stabbed another one on accident.
What?
The one who had a secret marriage that the bride didn't know about. Like, so much stuff for 30 seconds.
Did she find out at the wedding about the thing?
She found out at the honeymoon. No,
that
they were married.
Already married?
They were either back home. Yeah, his the phone rang and he was in the shower, so she answered the phone. And they're like, hey, is so-and-so here? She's like, well, he's in the shower. Who is this? Like, oh, this is his girlfriend. And she's like, well, this is his wife. Yeah, apparently he had like a girlfriend and a kid like in the next town over and didn't bother telling anybody. So like that wedding was annulled before I finished the pictures.
You have seen a lot, lived a lot of life, and I love it. What an episode. This wraps it up for the free feed. If you want to say goodbye to all the people that you freaked out along the way.
My apologies for tormenting you, but visit Fright Props and maybe Chris will have a discount code for you before you
if we could get frightprops.com as a sponsor, I'd love nothing more in my life than having frightprops.com, which I have to say is a great website that I'm absolutely going to be spending some money on, but man, is it poorly organized. Hard to figure out, hard to get to. I've been poked around for like 10 seconds on it. It was like, this is okay. Anyway, that was great. Thank you so much. Caller, thank you so much for calling in. It really means a lot, really has motivated me to get to work on my lawn. You'll be happy to hear that as of this recording, probably about 1/3 of the way done with putting up all my stuff, and my neighbors have already started stopping as they walk their dogs to talk to me about it. So that's, 1/3 of the way there. Thank you so much. And thanks for the tips on those websites. I ordered a bunch of stuff from one of them. No joke. And it's great stuff. This show is produced by the High Priestess, Andrea Quinn. Our theme song is by Shell Shag. Go to punchup.live/Chris Gethard for info on me, including tour dates when I'm out there on the road. We have a voicemail. It's 973-306-4676. We are on Instagram at Beautiful Anonymous Pod. And you can always join the Facebook group to discuss episodes with other fans. That is, of course, Beautiful Anonymous, the community. This week on Beautiful Anonymous Plus, here's some of what you'll get from the 5 questions. What's the grossest thing you've ever stepped on?
Oh, I've got this one.
Oh, boy.
Only a few years ago, I got out. I was at a Target, and I stepped out of the car, and I was like, what is this squishy? It's like, everybody stepped in dog shit and stuff like that. Like, what is on the bottom of my shoe? And somebody had taken their stick-on boob and, like, thrown it on the thing, on the pavement. So, like, this thing's attached to the bottom of my shoe, and I'm flailing it, trying to get somebody's fake tit to fly off. And then it flies across the parking lot.
It was a what? It was a fake boob?
Yeah, it's like a silicone stick-on fake boob, I guess, like, to basically like, to pad your bra. That if they had dumped out, and then it stuck to the bottom of my shoe in a Target parking lot.
Okay, I need our listeners, and maybe you know more than I do. I understand that, you hear, there's the inserts to round out, I think this is what you're talking about, right? It goes inside the bra to round out the boob area. Any of our listeners who have experience with these more directly than myself and the caller, I need all of you to brainstorm and let us know if you can imagine a world in which one of those gets flung into a Target parking lot. Like, are you going on a date to Target? Are you meeting up with someone and you're trying to look sexy and then the date falls through and in a rage you throw your boob insert across the parking lot? Like, what happens at a Target that leads to a boob insert on the floor? We need to know. We need a group community brainstorm on this. Don't forget to sign up for Beautiful Anonymous Plus at beautifulanonymous.com.